Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Sketch Fighters. I'm joined by my co-host, professional comic book artist Jerry Ma,
Hola.
and professional comic book artist Sean Chen.
Hello, hello.
Sean, how you doing? How are you guys doing? What are you talking about? There's a convention coming up in New York City.
Well, this weekend is Mocha on 18th Street.
Yeah.
I'll be there on Saturday only. But then there's a whole bunch of small ones coming up. So I thought Sean was going to be at one of them, but he wasn't sure. I checked the lineup and I did not see his name there. So.
Oh, okay. Then well, I think I'll probably go anyways. It's an art high school. It's the one that Neil Adams went to, and a lot of luminaries go there. I went to one, and I was listening to a panel with David Mazzucchelli and Chip Kidd and I don't know, Klaus Janson. So I mean, the big names.
Yeah, those are quite big names. Klaus.
When is well, Mocha is this weekend, right? Are you going?
Yeah, I'll be there on Saturday.
You went last year.
I've been there like the last 3 years, but this year in particular, Sunday. I guess I could go on Sunday, but I gotta go to the airport to pick up Ivy, so I didn't feel like rushing back and forth.
Right.
So I'm only gonna go on Saturday.
Okay.
But I'll have some little dumpling drawings that I just cranked out this week, and do whatever, some prints and books and stuff like that.
How is that show? I mean, does it?
I love it. It's actually my favorite convention of the year.
Isn't it really crowded? For some reason, I remember going to that, and it's like a huge, like a flea market where you don't know what to look at. There's like stuff all over the table.
Well, it's at the Metropolitan Pavilion, which I've been there before when I was doing clothing. So they always have like print shows and different types of like design shows there. And it's just, I think it's a great space. It's not like crowded like New York Comic Con crowded, but they get in a far smaller space, but it's big-ish. They get a few thousand people in there. It's more intimate. It's about comics, not movies and toys and video games. It's all about comics, which is what I think for me makes it more fun. And I don't know, it's just, you get a chance to like talk to people in a not so like corporate way. I just really enjoy it. They partner with the Society of Illustrators and School of Visual Arts. So it skews on the younger side. There's a lot of art students walking around. But I guess because of those art students, they're so energized and they're so enthusiastic to be there. Bernard, it kind of feels like being at like the CWT in Taiwan, It's just got that like positive energy, if that makes sense.
So do you just want to like break their spirit? And then
That's what I do.
tell them like you're in for a rough ride, kid.
But break your heart.
It's my favorite convention of the year.
And it's 2 days, right?
Yeah.
Who is the head of the MoCA? It's a Museum of Contemporary Art, or is it
Museum of Comic and Cartooning Art.
Oh, museum! It was actually a museum.
And it's run by the Society of Illustrators in New York.
Oh, okay.
And it's just cool, like last year Jerome was just hanging out. Trad Moore goes there just to hang out. I happen to be friendly with both those guys, so they're just like kind of hanging out. We're just chatting, and I don't know, it's just kind of nice,
Yeah. How much is is a table there?
That's where there's some trouble in paradise. I think it's around 500 or 550,
500
something like that.
for a
Yeah.
wow.
For a 2-day show with just like a few thousand people. Yeah, I know. But and even though it is, the majority is like college students. I mean, it's a New York show, so people are there. First, I think people are just friendlier there.
So a
You
lot
know,
of college students.
Yeah, but they're very, like I said, they're really like motivated and happy to be there. So
But they're probably
I've
doubling up on
I've
tables.
made good money. I made just as much there as I did at New York Comic Con.
Wow. But the college kids are probably what, doubling up on space, or is it they're still keeping it one per table?
Both.
Like I would assume if I was in college, I would be, trying to double up on the space there, because $500, that's a lot of money. I mean, doesn't the Society of Illustrators they should what is the word?
But subsidize it?
Yeah, subsidize it. I mean, they have it's
You
it's,
think
it's a
so?
non-profit, right? Isn't Society of Illustrators a non-profit or no? Or am I don't know.
I don't know, but I guess this is just part of their way. But look, they do charge a lot, but they're quite friendly. Unlike, like, I hate to say, the bigger shows, right? They don't really do, at least for guys like me, they don't do anything. So at Mocha, they treat everyone equally, you know. So like they're just as nice to me as they are to Mike Mignola, you know.
See, that'll be a problem for us.
So Mike Mignola goes to this thing, or
He was there a couple years ago. That's when I bought 2 of his originals.
oh, okay. So who's the big draw this year?
I have no idea. I didn't check.
Well, I'm trying to wrap up this K250 drawing today. I gotta ship it off, so I wasn't able to work on it much this week. So I think I'm keeping the same pose, and then I'm gonna ink it. I thought about adding this the control panel that he's on, that he's behind, that circular control panel. And it's a nice kind of graphic element, but it also obscures the rest of the body, so it kind of fits into the perspective. I don't have to figure out where his other arm is. And I put the other arm, like the hand, right here. Although I kind of wish I was drawing this digitally, because I would have just selected this and then shrunk it down. It's a little too wide. But them's the pitfalls of drawing things traditionally these days. Let's see. I want to get into there's a Kickstarter that launched, I think today or a couple days ago, about Stan Lee. I don't know if anybody has heard about it. I wanted to. They messaged me to ask me to chat about it, and then I don't know if Kreese is going to come on.
What is the Kickstarter for exactly?
There's a documentary about the last days of Stan Lee, and where they have like video footage.
Last days.
Well, like towards the end of his, life, and it talks about how he was being exploited by a bunch of people.
Oh, okay. So what, Marvel wants you to promote that
No,
one?
it's
That
not
was
Marvel.
very ugly.
It's not Marvel.
Oh, okay. It's
not Marvel. This is independent, and it has nothing to do with Marvel, really. It's Stan Lee. So, it talks about like how he, I guess,
got bamboozled out a lot of money.
Not bamboozled, but like just he's like an old man. He's like 90-something years old, and they're wheeling him around conventions.
Yeah. I mean, they were like, when he was starting to fall over, they were like, stand, wake up, and like slap him around a bit, and then just so you can take the picture, and then it was kind of like it's kind of elder abuse, basically.
Yeah, and then his one main handler um, got pleaded guilty to tax fraud for $1.2 million. So
Jesus Christ.
apparently he was selling on the side Stanley signed memorabilia over the course of a few years, and he didn't report it to the IRS. Which in a couple of years, I mean, if he had done it now, the IRS wouldn't be around, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. But anyways, and
Sounds like a really cheery documentary.
well, yeah, I mean, I saw there's a clip of it online, and at first I was like, "What is this?" It really didn't, I kind of had a little bit of a joke at first when someone showed it to me. A very, I'll tell you guys the joke after offline. But yeah, he was just kind of like wheeled and propped into these shows and told to sit here, sign that, sign this, sign that.
That photo you get to take with him, if you look at a lot of those photos when they show them online, it's just like these very happy guests sitting next to Stan, and Stan looked like he was comatose. And I don't know how much they paid for that photo op and the signature, but yeah, I mean they didn't get the money's worth. But it's not Stan's fault. I mean he was basically
He's just doing what he can. Yeah.
so exhausted. He was just surviving, and they were just kept on working him until. And so there's a lot of pictures of him with like smiling, happy, pretty, girls' faces, and then like Stan looks like he's like so out of it. And that picture is, I don't know. I mean, it's not worth anything because Stan looks like he's having a terrible time.
Well, also I mean, that's the whole. We got a couple people in here. I mean, I know Jay Dan goes to goes to some shows. Like for me, I'm too cheap to get one of those pictures. I figured if I really ever wanted one, I just snag one of yours offline and then Photoshop myself into it, which we should do as a gag. But
well, to me, I always think it's weird, like to pay for like the couple seconds to take a photo with. If I have to be like a huge fan of that person, then it makes some sense. But like, I want to meet, say, John Starks, my favorite basketball player of all time. I want to meet him organically, which I did, and I got a picture with him, and we had lunch together. That's different, But if I'm just like popping my head next to him, snap a picture, thanks, and then walk away.
Wow. What about the COVID years? When there's a plexiglass barrier between the two of you.
Right.
Yeah,
if it was the COVID
rough.
years, you couldn't even stand next to the person. It's like I've seen these things at shows where it's like a assembly line, basically. You wait in line, they push you in. I wonder if anybody in chat has been through one of these things. Let me say
I think Jay Dang has, right?
Probably. Make Havoc is the first in chat today. Welcome back, Steve. I'm assuming I'm going to run into Steve in a couple of weeks at WonderCon. I'm going to be there in Artist Alley. Jamie Odell, yo, 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 yo. Thank you, Steve, for the sub, tier 1, 55 months. Jay Dang is here. Thank you for the sub, resub, 55 months. How many years is that? That's, 248, 4 years. Oh, what? 4 years? 5 years almost? 4.5? What's 55 divided by 12? 4 something. Holy cow. Jay Dang, how you doing? Jay Dang really helped me out while I was in Taiwan. He was my consultant about the PRP shots on my shoulder.
Jay Dang is the man.
Jay Dang is a hand doctor.
Dang.
And actually, I do need to see a hand doctor, maybe. I was thinking about flying up to go see Jay Dang. Do you take Blue Shield, California? Simple Man's here. Good to see Simple Man. Hope you're staying warm in the Midwest.
He has paid to have a picture with you.
J-Dan, who?
Simple Man.
Simple Man paid
And
for a
he
picture
heard
with
you
me?
fart right before.
Oh.
He paid you?
Make Havoc. I will be in. No, I saw Simple Man and his wife and Simple Man Jr. Courtney and his Simple Man Jr. at Planet Comic Con last year. This time, they came out to the convention. I will be in WonderCon and Artist Alley. I think it's the table is E24. Yojimbo's here. Yojimbo's our moderator extraordinaire. Good to see Yojimbo. Hope he's doing well. Is it cold on the East Coast, you guys, or what is it? How is it?
It's freaking beautiful.
Not today.
Yeah.
Today is really nice.
Let's see. Too many shows run by a few companies who make it about celebrities instead of art or comics. Yeah. I mean, I remember the good old days. Comic book conventions were just comic book conventions. And now you got comic book conventions that barely have any comics in it, or Comic-Cons that barely have any comics in it. John Boulderjack did this independent movie. Yes, so it's John Boulderjack. Let's take a look at it. Let me while we're talking about
Are you allowed to show it?
Why not? Let me find it before we. This is the portion of the stream where we go off sketch. And then last week was the gout talk. This
Now it's more gout talk.
Here, look at this. Don't want you to see who I subscribe to.
Telling you about her school day without being asked.
Why don't
That's
you
the
just go to
kind
the
of change
Kickstarter?
you'll find with Fusion Academy. With one-to-one classes designed around her learning
What was
differences,
that?
you'll see how
Just go to the
changing school.
Kickstarter.
Thank you very much.
Well, this is the video here. I wonder if you guys can hear it.
Now are you
Holy
ready to
shit.
give a riveting speech? You're gonna change lives.
I thought I was finished with that. What do I have to do now?
You're never over.
You what?
I said I thought I was finished, but apparently I'm not.
No. Once we're done, we'll get out of here.
Now what do I do here?
Same thing. Talk about you. We'll make some new questions.
But I don't have the.
Yes, you will. Yes.
You get your money's worth out of me.
Every single penny.
Penny, like 5 pennies.
All right, that's it. Did you guys hear that?
Not really.
Yeah, it was a delay, but yeah, I heard it. I
Stanley
heard
spent
some of it.
most of his career as the run.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some footage of it on YouTube. Let me see. Let me find the Kickstarter.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane, when he wasn't drawing, he kind of dipped out of the industry for a while. He did go on tour with Stan Lee for a long time, and that show that they put on together was just pure love, positivity, and everything, mutual respect. It was fantastic.
That sounds awesome.
And then he got older, and then sort of like that. Who's that guy from the Beach Boys? Who the same kind of thing happened to him, where people just kind of slide in, and they get rid of the people you're close to, keep your family away, and take over, and then funnel all the money to themselves.
Andy Gibbs.
No, with Brian something, the Beach Boys. Yeah.
Brian Wilson.
Brian Wilson. Hey, it's Fletch. Fletch knows everything.
Fletch, are you out or
Hey, guys.
where are you? Are you home today?
Yeah.
Or are you driving somewhere?
Oh my God, Fletch is home.
Yeah, it's crazy. Fletch is joining us.
Where in the world is Fletch?
I'm home. I'm at my place in LA.
Let's see. So this is the the Kickstarter, Stan Lee, the final chapter. Very ominous. Insider look at Stan Lee's tumultuous final years, revealing how mistreatment and conflict threatened his life and legacy. They're asking for $300,000. Let me click on this.
My name is John Bullerjack, and for the last 4 years of Stanley's life, I was his assistant, his confidant, but most importantly, his friend. I traveled the world with him, witnessing firsthand the incredible highs of his legendary career, but also the heartbreaking lows. Stan spent his final years enduring mistreatment, manipulation, and betrayal at the hands of a few very bad actors.
Is there any way to get us out of the San Francisco thing? What do you feel we've got to do?
At the time, I didn't have the power to stop it, but I did have a camera and I filmed everything.
Whoa, watch out!
Now I'm asking for your help to finish the film and finally get justice for Stan. This documentary includes first-hand accounts from key witnesses, including comic book legends like Rob Liefeld and Roy Thomas, as well as many others who saw the chaos and unethical acts. This isn't speculation, it's all on camera. Undeniable.
This is old Stan Lee coming at you. No, you're not old.
Irrefutable.
I thought I was finished, but apparently I'm not.
No ambiguity. With your help, we can finish the film, expose the truth, and give Stan the justice he deserves. As a bonus, I'm going to share with you some insights on the film from some of the most well-respected creators in the industry.
I'll be honest, I didn't know what to expect.
When I saw the documentary, I knew some of it, but like most people, I didn't know all of it. And there were pieces of it that blew me away.
It's a lot of emotions, dude. It's a crazy roller coaster.
Seeing Stan in that situation, being taken advantage of, was really hard to watch. Because I just think, I was thinking of my parents and my grandparents.
So I think it's important that people see that even the guy at the top, the most successful comic creator isn't protected.
This film shows behind the curtain that not a lot of us fans get to see.
This isn't just a fluff piece trying to attack somebody. This is like, I'll just show you in their own words.
I had no idea how badly he had been exploited. And that's a message that people need to hear.
I really miss Stan, and just watching it just felt like I really got to know him again. My thing that I hope that, this documentary really does is, shine a light on what was going on truly with Stan Lee.
It's like, freaking, doesn't feel right,
Well, it just launched, right? I think 30 days to go. There's still a long ways to hit the goal. The goal is 300,000. They're about 1%.
That's not a stretch.
1%, 10%.
It's tough.
So they're at 30,000. Yeah, I don't know why they set the bar so high, because if it doesn't reach it with Kickstarter as opposed to Indiegogo, I would think this is something that would also probably benefit the Indiegogo platform, where it can stay on longer and it'll still fund whatever money you raise. Otherwise, this one, it all gets returned. So, but anyways, I'm not a Kickstarter expert.
Mark Millar will step in at the last minute and give the last 100,000.
Well, I would think some people, if you're giving 100,000, then you would become an executive producer of this, right? You would have some kind of financial stake. But then how? I mean, it's a pretty good trailer. You can it definitely gets the point across. Whether the movie, the actual final documentary, how it's cut, edited, those other aspects, wait to be seen. So let's see if you back this project. Fletch, did you ever meet Stan Lee?
Yeah, it was at we were hosting a Frank Miller signing at Barnes & Noble in L.A., and Stan appeared, and I met him there, and I've seen him at shows too, but helped arrange for that Frank Miller Stan Lee meeting behind the scenes and everything. That was pretty cool.
Was it Barnes & Noble at the Grove?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah. So for $50, you can get a bunch of stuff.
I think I might have a credit with Stan Lee. I mean, like on some comic thing, it says story by Stan Lee and art by Sean Chen.
Really?
Hubba.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but it probably wasn't a real legitimate comic. One of those like CD inserts or something like that, or movie tie-ins, something like that.
Was it Stan Lee meeting?
I don't really think that he wrote it, but I think it was like a ghostwriter, and then Marvel just put his name on it just for sales sake.
That was probably through Stan Lee Media, right?
It was a Marvel thing.
Oh, it was Marvel.
Yeah, I met Stan Lee twice. Once at a convention, and I mean, just in passing, right? I think this was like right when we first started at Valiant, and said hello, and then saw him again like a few hours later, and he was like, "Hello, how are you doing?" Like we'd never met before, because the sheer number of people that he meets is just incredible, right? And then I met him again once. I went in for kind of like a feeler interview at Stanley Media. This was when I was a free agent after my Imagineering Disney days, and they brought me in to see if I wanted to join Stanley Media. I guess this is when Dustin was there, so Dustin said he had worked there with Stanley Media. This was probably in the early 2000s. So they had just launched a bunch of small initiatives. I think Scott Koblish was there, and a couple other guys. This was he had an office in Sherman Oaks. And so I had a sit-down meeting with Stan Lee for like 15, 20 minutes.
Awesome. Did you ask him to take a picture with him?
This was before cell phones, so wasn't really carrying around disposable cameras. It would have been great. I mean, I was trying to keep it professional because it was kind of like a job interview. We talked a little bit. He was, Stan's one of those guys that has that voice. You can never, once you hear his voice, you never forget it. And he was super friendly, super nice. Very welcoming, very encouraging, and yeah. Ultimately, I didn't want to go back into an office position, going into an office every day thing. So, but yeah. I don't know, Jerry. You ever meet Stan Lee?
Nope.
I should have brought
I
some
think
shit
I saw
to get.
he walked by me once at a convention.
Yeah, I should have brought some shit to get signed.
Keep it professional.
Like, can you sign my, the guest sticker when you get into the building? The security gives you like a name badge, right? Yeah.
Can you record my answering machine message?
Do you have any signed memorabilia from Stan?
Hey, believe it.
No.
Do you guys know this guy Boulder Jack? Jonathan? Boulder Jack?
Well, I know he needs a haircut.
Let's see what's going on in chat. There was a guy on YouTube complaining about Emerald City coming out, becoming not so much about comics. Well, Emerald City now is part of Repop. It used to be run by Jim DeManacos. How do you pronounce Jim's last name?
Demonacos.
Demonacos and his brothers. They ran a few stores in the Seattle area. And Sean, you were there with us, right? Or no, that was just JP and Tommy. We went once. And I ended up with the nicer hotel room. And Mr. Joshua's here. Good to see Mr. Joshua. Hope Cool Hand Luke is doing good. Hope he's doing well in school. Beef Skeleton is here. Good to see Beef. Here, let me type in the link in the.
Who's opened up bubble wrap?
Not me.
So yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Jim had sold Emerald City to Repop and worked for Repop for a couple of years. And he launched his new convention, Lightbox Expo in Pasadena.
Yes.
So that's been the last couple of years too.
But the Lightbox is mainly a lot of animation industry, concept art, entertainment industry people, right?
Yeah, there's comic artists there too. Mignola goes, I think, every last couple of them.
Yeah, but is Mignola now still a comic book artist, or is he more of a?
Well, he did a graphic novel for Dark Horse that came out and sold out pretty quick.
Really?
He still does some comic art. But you're a lot of anime, not anime, but a lot of animation artists, a lot of game studio artists and all that stuff.
Right.
They're all looking for work now.
The animation industry is going through a slight downturn.
Will it ever come back? Like, under what situation would all that work come back?
I think the whole job is going through a whole downturn.
What? What was that?
I said, I think the whole job market in America is going through a whole downturn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it'll come back. The animation business. You don't think it, Sean?
What?
You don't think it'll come back?
Well, I think it's forcing them to, like, how can they make well, the big experiment is, like, can they make these shows more economically? Do you need everyone to be in a central location, or can you outsource it to anyone working from home? And you can cut costs in so many ways. And then there's the technological innovations, and maybe even some AI. So they find that they can kind of get along without it. They can slash budgets, hire way fewer people, and then I guess they put out these shows because they're making them, and they were forced to see if they can find a different workflow, and they did. And then they're like, "Oh, look at this! The numbers and the sales are the same." So to go back to the way it was before on that scale, they just think like, well, why? When we've just found a more efficient way to do things.
I don't understand.
I think, well, COVID kind of forced like that whole studio to shut down because they can't have all those people in the same place.
Right.
So then they made like one of those like Pixar Disney movies. Everyone just did from their home.
Yeah.
So they can get rid of facilities and stuff, and everyone just do their bit. And then, I guess, I don't know if was there a strike or something like that, or maybe not. But they were forced to somehow try to see whether they can get that work done outside of LA, and then just work even from like overseas, and found that they did it, and I think the consensus was it didn't affect the quality as much as they thought it would. So they just discovered a new way of working.
Yeah, but that's the entire United States or the entire world.
I mean, Yeah, so I don't know, like it's like animation. I don't know if it'll come back the same way it did. Like even what we did when we were storyboard artists, like having a talented artist draw storyboards is now that you can get at that in software. So things just kind of change, and then as an artist, you just have to pivot. And fortunately, there's a lot of different things you can pivot to.
But you're talking about the use of AI then.
Maybe like AI is really good at that to generate ideas, like even if it doesn't make it all the way through the end product.
So are you revealing on the show today that you're a proponent of AI, Sean?
Oh, it's strange. Like I think it's just the reality of the fact that it's a very powerful tool and it's going to displace some people. And I think there's some people like I think it's really bad at doing comics. It can do comic book covers, especially variant covers. No one will buy it if they know it's AI, but it does some pretty work.
Yeah, you know? It's not just going to displace some people; it's going to displace everyone.
Well, I don't know. Like with comics, it's a lot harder because if you tell it to make a pretty image, you can do that. But then if you're telling a story, like this image has to relate to the previous one in so many ways that you just have to have them redo it over and over and over again, and then you might as well just draw the whole thing yourself.
Yeah, but the people that are not using it are not going to be able to draw it anyways to begin with. So
yeah, so that cuts them out, and then it's
no. But the whole purpose of it is to replace humans. Is it
yeah.
Not? Or to replace the cost of human labor. I mean, the reason why you charge so much is because you've spent so much time in your life learning a particular trade. But with a click of a button, I used ChatGPT over the weekend for the first time in my life. It was very interesting. I was asking it to type up some prompts, and you know, it's it took I don't know, like 8 to 10 attempts, and then there was something in it that was kind of interesting, but you know, certain aspects with the creative arts, it's very frightening.
Yeah. Well, it like every other tool, though, it can be used to assist you or it can be used to replace you. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
Well, the argument right now is that it's stealing artwork to what was that?
Yeah, no, it is stealing artwork, not crediting the.
Yeah, but if it's already too late, or if it's just by the middle to end of this year, it's going to be too late because there's no way of the amount of stuff that it's being stolen from is being to be able to trace that back to.
Yeah.
And it's going to learn so fast. I mean, it tricked Fletch. Fletch sent me a picture, and I was like, "No, that's AI, dude." And,
I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, and I mean, it's very realistic. I will agree. You know, last year, end of last year, they were still having difficulties with hands and lettering or fonts on people's clothing. So if it was like a sports picture, you know, with the number or the team name, they wasn't getting it. But now it's able to replicate it in a way that you can't tell that it's. Well, I can still tell, but it's getting harder and harder to differentiate. And then hands are getting pretty good. Although if you watch the videos, there's always little glitches here and there. But you know, give it a couple of more months, it's gonna learn. And we're going to be on the. There's not going to be a need for any of us. This is going to be a hobby.
Well, I think there's people need art for all different reasons, a whole spectrum of reasons, and there is an area where they won't accept AI art. Like, let's say, like, like if you like sports and everything, you can play baseball with what is that, the aluminum bat. If you want to, if it's just about hitting the ball as far as you can, then you use an aluminum bat or just use a cannon. But people won't accept that because like they want to see a human being do this thing, and they want to standardize the rules because they want to see a human being performing at the height of his ability.
Yes.
So there is some art where that's the point, and then there's some art where that's not the point at all. So those the ones with not a point at all where you just need a pretty picture for your YouTube thumbnail. You don't draw yourself. Just have AI generated. Who cares, right?
I don't know, Sean. I think you have a very positive outlook on this because the thing is, you're talking about like sports, and if someone can see a robot playing, but if you're watching a baseball game or football game, and the whole game is computer generated, and you cannot tell that it's not human people playing, how are you going to be against it? Right? And so if you look at a piece of artwork, I will guarantee you by the end of this year, if you look at a piece of AI artwork, I will not be able to tell the difference between a human drawn image and a computer generated image. And you're talking about outrage from consumers, but consumers are not the most are not necessarily the most
best equipped to make that.
Right, best equipped to determine what is drawn by human and what is drawn by computer. Only like a craftsman like you and I, like us, would be able to tell.
It's okay, you didn't include me.
Who? Who was that, Fletch?
No, Jerry.
Jerry?
He's a
Jerry would be able to tell. Jerry, you can tell, right? Could you tell that when Fletch sent that picture of those?
That picture, I thought I had a suspicion it was AI, but I wasn't that sure.
Right, but it's like a slight suspicion, right? Because there was still something off with it.
But if you would have told me it was real, I would have believed it.
Yeah, but but by the end of the year, man, forget it. We're not going to be able to tell anything. Right.
So you're talking about there has to be some sort of deception because I think the average consumer doesn't want to see. A lot of people don't want to see the AI stuff, so you'd have to get it by them somehow, and that's where you'd be able to make the product. Like,
I don't think people are going to know when they're seeing.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to tell the difference. And the thing is, like,
when Disney just shows you, look at this, everyone's like, that's fucking awesome, Like
here's my argument in terms of like comics art. There are artists right now, David Mack, that take pictures and trace.
That's a lot of people. That's everybody.
See, but it's been accepted, right?
It's photo reference. It's all photo reference.
No, it's not.
Well, there's photo reference and there's tracing.
Yeah, there's photo reference and then there's tracing. There's two different.
Yeah, there's a very, very big fucking difference.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and Jerry would be able to tell the difference. See, I'm including you, Jerry.
I'm very anti-tracing. Forget about AI.
Right. So, but the industry and the fans accept it, and the fans
love it. They love David Mack.
A lot of the fans love this guy or other artists that do the same thing. And especially now that people are drawing digital, it's very easy to do that. So, and the evidence is easily you can't anyways. So because traced art is so accepted in this medium now, once any small piece of AI art is filtered in and or accepted, it just becomes a matter of complacency, because then you're gonna look at stuff and say, "Wow, this is really nice," and "Wow, oh, this is this looks great." No one's gonna care anymore by next year. See, so it's who's gonna know?
Well, that's why it's really good to be an old fart, because it's really not going to affect us that much. Those younger people like Crease, they got their whole career ahead of them. I was like, good God, what how are you going to survive this?
Well, that's the other Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah. Ends in a couple days.
Well, it ends tomorrow, I think, right? Oh, I
Yeah,
texted him.
maybe, yeah.
He didn't reply. I guess he's not coming on.
Good old fashioned hand drawn Kickstarter by Crease.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the industry is going to go away just now, but there is going to be
some adjustments.
Yeah. It's like if you spend a whole day playing video games, it's not the same as like going outdoors and playing the actual sport, right? Go outdoors and play 3-on-3 with your friends is different than staying home and playing video games all day. I mean, you still get an adrenaline rush, but at the end of the day, I don't know about other people, but I feel a little. It's not the same, right? There's a little bit of like I just beat up some kid I didn't know online, in Madden. When if you played somebody in real life, there's a little bit more of I did conquer that human. Or if you played against the computer, you beat the computer 55-0. But is that the same as beating a human 55-0? And then, but after a while, you accept it, and you play against the computer. And I mean, we're on Twitch. The whole basis of Twitch is watching people play video games. Right? I mean, let that sink in. The whole purpose of this platform is to watch other people play video games, play computer games, computer simulated games. And it's so well accepted, and the rate of the incremental rate of technology of improvement and how it replaces real life, it's scary. Next year, there's no more mocha. It's just going to be like computer IMAX sitting there. I wonder if someone would do that, like, as a kind of like a protest, like pay $500 for a table and put a computer up there, and make an artist statement. Those kids that are going in college right now. I'm also thinking like, wow, these kids are going to art school. They're spending $70,000 a year, $80,000 a year on tuition to learn a craft that now with a push of a button, type in a keyboard prompt, and boom, you got it. Or, you don't even need the skill set to do this. You just draw a circle and stick figures or something, and then you scan it in and you let the computer then revise it and touch it up. It's like, wow, where are we headed as a society? Did you vote for Andrew Yang? Because we would have universal basic income by now.
I mean, obviously, I did.
It would have helped supplement, or even all the stuff that's happening in New York City. What's happening?
Elon Musk supposed to give us money, like a few $1,000s each.
Yeah, that's gonna help.
President Musk.
Yes.
What's going on with Eric Adams in New York? You guys are New York natives.
I think he's been bought out, right? So I don't know.
Well, what's going on in chat? Let me check up with chat. DWJ goes ham with everything he draws. Therefore, love shows on that page. Computer cheats and has predictable quirks. I like playing against people because, and the thing is, like nowadays, I'm doing Google search or Google image search when I'm researching stuff, and the first thing that pops up is an AI prompt that tries to answer the questions that I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm wondering, like, well, if it's getting the information from somewhere, what if it's getting the information from an incorrect source? And then
it always happens a lot,
right? And then it's giving me something that is incorrect, and I'm taking it for granted as truth. And how do I know that the algorithm or the programming of the AI is accurate in a sense that it's drawing information or resources from only accurate places? Anyways, in my gen, all my friends get more out of video games than outdoor games. We had a recent volleyball phase for a sec, though. Says Beef. Yojimbo likes playing against people because every game round is different. People can be convinced to pay anything. Take a look at and like, you know, hey, look, I used to play a lot of video games, and I would play online. And when you're playing against a human, it was very frustrating because if you're beating the crap out of them, they either glitch and quit out or glitch out. So you don't get the win. There's like this ego, you know, or they'll hit pause, and then they'll hit pause and delay until you get so frustrated you're sitting there for half an hour, and then eventually you quit so you can go play somebody else, or I quit, you know, I go play somebody else, and eventually you just end up playing against the computer because there's none of that ego kind of thing where people will try to do other kind of tactics to force you to quit when you're beating them. I don't know. So, and then going back to comics again, I mean, is anybody going to, you know, there was another Spawn cover that was recently revealed that was completely AI generated.
Yeah, but so if everyone's okay with AI, then we should just say, oh, cool, it doesn't matter if the AI looks great, so I'll pay for it. But then when people find out it's AI, they get so butthurt, and that just tells you that people just don't want it. So there is a bit of a deception there. You have to get it past them.
Yeah, but people will eventually.
Well,
people are not.
I'm going to make an argument pro AI.
Oh yeah.
Not because I like it. I think this is what people might be thinking without realizing it, right? What if it's like basically graphic design? No offense to anyone that's a graphic designer listening. I used to be a graphic designer, so I just know that graphic designers weren't ever really the most talented artists. They're people that have really good taste, and they have a good sense of style and design, and they learn software very well. And they have talent in that they know composition and layout, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily like skilled at drawing or painting, or, you know, photography, things like that. But they're and I think AI artists going forward could be considered like the next generation of graphic designers. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's good in a way because this is kind of an elitist pursuit here. It's just that Bernard is talented, and there must have been some hard work there. I did some hard work, but then that keeps a lot of people out. It's like this industry is gatekept because you don't get to draw comics because you don't know how to draw. That's not fair. You know?
No, or because I got into graphic design late. I didn't study it in school. I studied it after I graduated. And I think I became a pretty successful graphic designer. And I think the advantage I had was that I like to think I can draw, you know. So when I learned the software, yeah, I kind of had a huge advantage over the other graphic designers that just knew the software and had good taste, you know. So I don't know. I've been talking about this with a couple of friends, and I'm not trying to say I'm pro AI. I'm just trying to figure out what guys like us can do so that we're not put out of a job in a couple of years.
Well, I don't think there's anything that we can do.
Well, I don't know, like how many productive years do you have left? So that is the first one. But then also, like, one thing you can do, I kind of just force gum my way into this situation, but I have a portfolio of investments, and I don't know what's in it because my portfolio manager does all that. But it's been doing very well because the stock market has been doing well until recently. And then I was like, wow, what did it? I spoke to my guy. He says, oh, it's this one stock, and it's because
what's that stock, Sean?
Yeah, what is that? Well, I mean, we all know what that stock is.
NVIDIA?
Yeah. And I was like, wow, how come that's doing so well? He says, oh, because it's used in AI. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm not that crazy about AI. But he says, well, then that's why you should have it, because AI is going to put you out of a job. So you invest in it. So when you do get put out of a job, you reap the benefits from its success. So it ends up, I'm kind of neutral on AI because if it does well, then I become rich. If it doesn't do well, then I get to draw comics more.
Well,
so I mean, there's always a ways to handle things like that. You know,
there's positive uses for AI, and there's different applications for AI. But I'm only talking about AI in terms of art, because the other things that you're talking about is like, well, you know, like doing research or setting itineraries or making life easier, things about making life easier. But art was never about, well, I mean, look, there's a lot of suffering in art. But it's also about creation, right? I mean, sports has been able to kind of shield itself from enhancements for the most part, right? There's sports like athletes, they get tested for doping. So if they're using steroids, oh, it's no good. There's a mentality with that. You know, if your athlete is injecting some juice and making them run or lift faster, you know, society is, for the most part, against it. They want to see the human capabilities. But when it comes
art
to
is like that too.
I don't know. Is
Because
art the same thing?
yeah, I mean, Taylor Swift has been discovered. Not many people know, but she lip synced her entire concert, every one of those songs. And if people knew that, I think they want their money back because they want to hear her sing live. And I'm saying, what's the difference? It's better if she lip sync because it's a better performance. But no one wants that, so you do have to use a little deception and get the cheating across, so you don't get caught, right? So in general, people don't want AI art. They want to see a person do it, and a person who did suffer through it. But you know, like what's that guy? That sound, that artist, like he got busted. I don't think he's like working anymore. Like
who?
That Chinese artist. Daxion.
Yeah, it's Daxion.
Is he still working? Because he tried to get a couple of covers passed that they found it was AI.
Well, he's still at convention.
What's the big deal? If it's a good cover, then it's a good cover. But I think people, once they found out it's AI, like they don't want that shit.
Yes, but that's right now. That's right now. But what I'm saying, Sean, is, what about at the end of the year when you can't tell?
Right. So it's easier to cheat. That's what it is.
Yeah, but also, like, again, the argument is that tracing has already been widely accepted, and people can't tell. The basic consumer cannot tell if something is traced. And they think that it's, oh, wow, this person is really good. But
he can really draw buildings. Look at that.
you know, but what is it that, again, when we cross that threshold where people are no longer able to differentiate AI.
Beef Skeleton has made a pretty good call. If a manga takes off and does big numbers with AI, then he fears the big two will start using AI.
Well, I
That's
do
probably
think there's discussion with. I don't want to out anybody, but you know, there's obviously I think publishers nowadays that are probably, you know, they I think they would be doing their due diligence to look into this thing. Maybe it's the NFT thing, right? Are you banking on that it's going to be like the NFT backlash, and then then the backlash from the NFT really kind of diverted us from you know, having a whole bunch of NFTs today. NFTs are kind of non-existent right now, right? Or they're still around, but they're in a different form, right? They're called a different thing. What are they called now?
Digital collectibles.
Yeah, so it's the same thing, but they don't call it NFTs anymore. You know, does the fan know that a digital collectible is basically an NFT? Do they care if they're making money off of it? I don't like this ink job. I don't know what you guys are thinking. And see, this is like photo referencing. I'm using the photo for referencing, but I'm not tracing it.
Just trace it.
There's going to be some variation. I'm using the photo as a referencing tool for the shade and shadow, light sources. I mean, am I being hypocritical here? You know, I'm using some kind of aid.
It's still photo reference, but you're not tracing it. There's a distinction, like you guys talked about earlier. It's not tracing versus, you know, seeing something and then drawing it on your own hands. Right? There's that distinction.
Yeah, but it's a fine line, right? How much thinner is the line going to get?
I mean, there's one. This is where, even though I say I hate tracing, there's one artist that I love that openly admits to tracing and will defend it because he'll say someone that knows how to draw can just flat out trace better than someone that can't, which I agree with, by the way.
Who is this guy?
David Cho.
Oh, okay. David Cho.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
He will make the argument, a strong argument, that what the fuck is wrong with tracing?
That's interesting. But
You know, like he says it on his documentaries, on his interviews, whatever. Yeah. He's like not afraid to talk about it, you know. And I think he is fucking slamma-jamma awesome. So, you know, I'm kind of hypocritical when I say that, right? Because I think he's fucking awesome.
I really don't like this, how it's coming out.
I think the drawing would be fine when you put in the large black areas. Like a good portion of that is 100% black.
Yeah.
I would say like half the figure is black. When you put that in, it'll change all that stuff and it'll balance it out and it'll look fine.
Erase it.
Fill in the black areas and then it'll look fine. And then you can do something crazy in the background and then I think you fulfilled your obligations as an artist with, you know, if you put in a background and stuff.
Yeah, I also don't like how this is so close to the photo. But then I think about, like, I always try to do an action pose with my commissions. Some kind of like different pose. But then, like, I remember I'm looking at the Travis Cheris sketches, which were like amazing, and they're just figures standing there.
Yeah. I paid a pretty penny for one of those.
You know,
So you finally
like,
got it?
I'm trying to get like a. Huh? What was that? Sorry.
No. Because mine got like delayed the delivery. It got like held up in Newark, New Jersey.
Oh. Did you have to pay a tariff on it?
No, I think Travis, he doesn't charge for shipping, and I gotta say the way he packs it, that guy is aces. It's like that thing can withstand like a nuclear attack.
What does he use? Like a bunch of what is it? How is it?
He's got this super nice box that's made for like 13 by 19 artwork, and then he uses 2 pieces of half-inch foam board to sandwich the piece. It's like it was on, and like so much tape that but like nice tape, and it was just ridiculous. And then it's like sealed in a bag, and he does a pretty darn good job of making sure it gets to you safe and sound.
Half-inch foam board.
Yeah, the thing was like, honestly, like you could play football with it and it's going to be fine.
Wow.
It makes such a difference in presentation, doesn't it? You know, when you get something that's really nicely wrapped and secure.
Oh, what is it? What is the substrate when he draws? Is it like illustration board or is it Bristol?
Bristol.
Oh, so
he's using like the Strathmore 500 series large sheets of Bristol, I believe.
But the wet media would kind of make it like I remember what he used to do. He used to draw on those illustration boards, but it's actually cardboard backed. So he would do all his airbrushing and all that stuff on top, and then when he's done, he would take a razor blade and then slice the top layer off, so it's just paper.
Oh, maybe he did that. I don't know. It seems like just like 500 series Strathmore to me, but I didn't inspect the paper that much, to be honest with you. I was just tickled to have it in my hands.
Wow, I can't believe it.
I wonder if...
Yeah, so that's a pose where he's just, that guy that he drew for you is just standing.
Yeah. Well, he's making lightning.
No, and it's just a really fucking good drawing, right? And I'm just like, sometimes I wonder, like, you know, why am I putting so much effort into like the pose when I can just use the same amount of time and just really, you know, come up with a static pose and then draw the shit out of it. Because by the time I come up with a pose, I'm already kind of tired, and then I just don't want to, you know, the rest becomes just a drag. So I don't know. What does Chad? How does Chad feel about that? Like,
who else draws just static poses?
Almost everybody, right?
Yes.
I mean, a lot of people just do static poses, and then, I mean, I don't know. Do people care that it's the pose is a little bit more dynamic, or do they? Does it even factor in? Anyways.
Simple Man cares. He cares a lot.
Let me read the chat. Did you put it up on? Oh, it's on Travis's. It's on his website, huh? It's on his.
Yeah,
Instagram.
so I just put up a link to his Instagram. You know, Simple Man, who does care if it's a dynamic pose, I will say he's always drawing things like jumping off the page. So he's always a big action pose guy.
Yeah, I think it's important. Hell, I even think it's important to do full backgrounds in every drawing.
I just want to draw things in complete darkness. Or whiteout blizzard.
This was the Travis piece, right?
Yeah. Look, the lightning is moving.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's
Got a
very
nice
dynamic.
silhouette.
There's, you get the facial expression, the lightning with the hands. The hands are very dramatic, and then
His legs are spread wide.
and then you look at for me, when I'm looking at this, it's the texture in the hat is what I'm
Yeah,
really
the
thinking,
hat is unbelievable.
right? How
So
the,
three-dimensional.
yeah, so the thickness and the line weight in the hat really punctuates the dimensionality of it, the curvature of it, how and kind of how it's going up. There's a lot of energy in it. All the lines are really, there's a formation. It's uniform on the inside, but then when it gets to the outer brim, where it's kind of more random or tussled, and then he has some highlights in there, which accentuates the lightning. Then you kind of bounce back with the arm. I bounce back with the folds in the arm, the kind of the chest dynamic, the chest armor, the triangular shapes, and then I go into the cape. The cape has some slight hatching in it, and then there's the sparkle, the white splatter from the legs. The last thing you notice for me is probably the blue outline around the figure, but that kind of ties it in back with the electricity. Then you go back to the eyes, have that kind of.
I will say the blue outline
Yeah.
on the picture doesn't do it justice like the original. It's really nice.
You really see it.
I know it sounds silly,
Is the
but
blue
the outline
is
is
the
really
blue
nice.
Did he do the blue outline before or after the white splatter?
Give me a second. Let me walk over and take a look. I'll be right back.
I think one thing you should note about this that we don't really notice sometimes when we look at it, but as artists, you tend to draw objects, like you'll draw his pants and then draw his capes, and then you kind of define both objects. But you look at his legs blur into the cape in almost everywhere except for the silhouette.
Looks like he did it after.
He did after, so the blue is.
Or maybe he had it masked off or something, because it's pretty damn accurate, but there's no speckles on it.
Sean, you were saying?
Oh, also like in the hands, he doesn't draw the entire hand because of that energy flash. So then it would kind of disappear. So what's weird is all of these objects kind of blend in and blur into each other, which makes it look very three-dimensional, because I think when we draw, we tend to isolate different material and different parts, and everything is categorized when we draw.
I think the hand, he drew, it looks like he drew the hands completely, and then he hit it with some kind of airbrush.
Into the airbrush.
To kind of blur out the hands a little bit. Jerry, can you confirm that?
Yes. God. All right, give me another second. Let me go take another
And
look.
can you open up the back of the frame so that then the actual original picture of the guy pops out? So
It's perfectly white, so he
actually
probably did
traced
what Sean was saying, which is slice it off a freaking board. But give me a second.
Oh, can you imagine slicing your artwork off a board, and then if you mess it up and you're like, oh, it just rips.
Yeah, the hands are completely drawn.
Oh, so he drew a complete hand and then just whited over it?
Yeah.
Because I know in comics, when he draws comics, he'll intuitively leave out the line. But I guess because he's painting, he can just draw a whole object and then just paint over it.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'm the expert on his process at all, but I, like probably many of the people listening, read a bunch of his interviews back in the day. This is before he's started this new, more European type of look. But he would do like full gradient pencils, full gray wash inks, airbrush it, and then paint it. And it would take like, I read once it took him like 2 weeks to do a 1 page.
Yeah, it's probably like Meta Baron stuff.
Yeah, and it's just like, holy crap, he's freaking crazy, but in a good way. But he's crazy, man.
Yeah, because all he has to do at the end of the year is just push a button. Wow. Anything else happening in the comics world these days?
You didn't miss you talk about the big story today?
What's the big story today?
Besides the Stan Lee stuff?
Yeah.
When?
The under the pay disparity, or the Marvel stuff.
What? With Dustin?
Dustin calling out Marvel.
It's weird. Like, I almost thought someone took over his account because Dustin is really a nice guy, and he would never say anything like that. So when it was going off, I was like, is he drunk or is this someone? But yeah, I'm glad he said it, but it's out of character for him.
It was in the middle of the night. It was early morning. They posted.
Yeah. He was really passionate about it, and he felt strongly about it to write about it. So
sorry, I missed this entire story. What happened?
Let's see.
Well, that's on social media how the people are getting not getting paid enough for his page rate is the same as it was like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and created a whole firestorm.
Well, he's right.
Yeah.
I think also he's getting old enough. Like, a lot of times when you're younger, you gotta watch out who you piss off, because you never know. Like, you can't just piss off Marvel like that, because you might have to go back there one day. But when you get to be our age, you got more of your career behind you than in front of you. You can kind of write off Marvel.
Well, this was his post this morning. Where's my?
It's not even really grammatically correct, though, right?
So he's not working with Marvel. Marvel can middle finger themselves. Vast nicely for our past 15 years on behalf of every artist. Stop screwing people over. You're not getting another cover from Dustin. I'm okay with the minimum wage.
Yeah, what does that last part mean?
He's not okay with it. Like, he doesn't care what they do to him. They blacklist.
So reading the text prompt, getting this earlier than expected from, but really, if it bothers you, I'm sorry, Marvel has been undercutting creators from the start. Unless you're getting 6 to 7K a cover, then God bless. I hope you're getting a piece of the MC. Who's getting paid $6,000 to $7,000 a cover?
Yeah, if that's what he was expecting, it's never more than 1,000, right?
Are there guys getting? I mean, 1,000 is kind of the unspoken top right?
Yeah.
Maybe visual art as well, sales as well, for included in that. I don't know.
But 6,000 to 7,000 a cover. That's.
And then you can sell it for another 6 or 7. I mean, maybe it's just because I worked my entire career for Marvel that when they pay me like $500 a cover, that sounds about right to me.
Well,
yeah, I think you have to do the secondary market, selling the original art for $5,000 or $6,000.
Oh, so he's talking about if you're selling the original art for $6,000 to $7,000 a cover, then okay. Not getting not the rate for the cover.
Right.
I think he was talking about the rate.
Between them and DC, they're the only one that doesn't pay a royalty for overseas sales. America's the originator of superhero comics. Japan has manga, which we love. Europe has cool as shit, but we can't love describe. And what the hell? They're not paying creators a piece. Come on. Also, merch, lunch boxes, teas. Good luck. That's also a point of contention. You know, like there's a lot of merch out there, especially for the older vintage guys. You know, like Bob. His stuff is on T-shirts and all this stuff. His Iron Man drawings, and he doesn't get a single penny of royalties from that. Sean's done a lot of creative services artwork for Marvel, which are seen and that they reuse for packaging. But Sean, I don't think you get any royalties from that stuff either, right?
I mean, you get a page rate that's a little bit better than interior work or cover work. But I kind of understand that that's what they're going to do with it. Yeah, so it's I know what I was getting into.
I mean, Jerry used to work at Aeropostale, so you know when you would hire artists, it's a one-time fee, right? No matter how.
Yeah,
much.
but I always try to pay a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say draw the Marvel characters because as a comic book artist, it's kind of like you're right. You should be able to do it. Don't do it for Marvel. Do it for Upper Deck. Do it for Nike. Do it where they actually pay. Do it for Abrams Books.
There's a lot of F-bombs in this thing. Sorry, what was that, Fudge?
I was going to say, when I was at DC, I know that the licensing department of consumer products would pay any type of reuse fee as well. It's not just a kill fee once you turn in the artwork. So if they use like an image you did in a comic book or on the cover of a comic book, they would give you either samples and a reuse fee, or it will be worked out some way. So I know that's one of the main differences too. I know that they also, DC was always good, again, back when I was there, with royalties and everything too. So there was a special department about that. Even if you created a character in comics and they make an appearance in TV or movies, whatever, you would get recognized for that as well. But
I mean, look, this is all just like, look, at the end of the day, the artist has to be more educated on how to negotiate his contract. I agree with Dustin. I wouldn't say it, I wouldn't deliver it his way, but I do think it is the artist's responsibility to educate themselves on how to get paid properly. You don't have to draw Spider-Man. That shouldn't have to. Just because it's your lifelong dream, that doesn't mean you should screw yourself over and not be able to feed your family. Just for the privilege of drawing Spider-Man.
Well, the thing is, drawing Marvel comics for a lot of people is the same thing as like being a male porn star.
Male porn stars get paid better.
No,
they
the males
time.
No, it's the females that get paid. So the thing is, like, if you wanted to do it for like $100 an hour, you have a line out the door of people who want to do it. If you drop it to 50, you'll still get people there. After a while, you can say like, okay, how about you guys start paying me $100 to be in this movie? There'll still be a line out the door. And with Marvel, those characters are beloved and they're known around the world, and there's a certain amount of prestige. Like, most likely, you've been wanting to do this since you were a kid. So, what is too low to accept from Marvel for the privilege of drawing their characters?
Yeah, the problem is they prey on people that have been dying to do this since they were kids.
Right, exactly. That's the negotiation tactic, to use that your love of those characters to try to get the best, out of you while paying the least amount. That's one of their tactics.
Yeah, and they have a right to do that. It's smart business, right?
Actors make a stand for their rights. I've never understood why artists never do that. I guess there's no organization, right? Freelance illustrators are not organized enough to.
Right.
Or just like swoop in and take the job from the other person that's leaving.
Well, the one of the things that happened after Dustin's post, that a lot of creators actually jumped on in the comment section and commented on their rates and everything too. So you don't really that people sharing their rates or anything, but
People are sharing their rates on this. Let me take a look.
Well, I saw Rick Remender. I didn't know it was. Now it makes sense to me. He made a pretty inspiring post today about creator owned or nothing, and he listed a few projects he has coming out, and I thought it was so freaking cool. I didn't understand why he was doing it. Now I do, and I think it's actually even cooler of him. How he was just saying how, you know, creator owned comics or don't do it. You know.
Yeah.
If you can, mine's a little like, who can afford that though?
Well, that's, you know, look, you can keep saying that and never do it. Just don't complain about it when you're not making any money, you know, or you can try to, you know, create your own IP and bet on yourself, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I don't really have huge hopes for it because it rarely ever pans out. But I think it's the right place to be, and you know, I've saved my pennies so I can do this do this kind of work under working without having any type of creative oversight. That's a goal.
I think creators should look at Marvel and DC or whoever, Dark Horse, or you know, whatever it is. I think that's minor leagues, man. Seriously, that's where you learn, and you got to make your own IP. That's all it is. That's, you know, I don't think I'm saying anything crazy. It's just
except that it rarely ever pays off though. You need to have a sugar daddy that'll pay for your dumb idea until it either takes off or it doesn't.
Yeah. But you're right though. It's up to the artists to do their homework and know what they're willing to.
Know what you're getting yourself into. Don't just be like, okay, I'll do it. You know.
Yeah, there's one good story though by Zoe Thorogood. She said that the only time she worked with Marvels was to do a character design, which they had paid like $100 for, and she just thought it'd be cool to do it. And then they use the concept as they use that as a cover without telling her, without any compensation. So Marvel got a cover for $100, and without any, it was just a design. And plus, you're using that character design too for other things too. So
here's the quote. The only time I worked with Marvel was for a character design. They paid me $100. I thought it'd be cool, just have it done, so agreed. But then, without any knowledge, used the concept as a cover.
I wonder if Marvel is looking at the comments to see which artists are commenting and who's liking it. Make a little mental note.
Well, I think the government is doing that with other things already. So
I mean, I always hear about people like when they have to do a logo design, like, oh, how big is the company? And if it's a big company, they charge more. I don't understand why comic artists don't take the same approach.
It's actually almost.
Am I doing this for a small company, or am I doing it for Marvel? If
it's almost the opposite.
If I'm working for Marvel, I'm going to charge more, right?
Yeah.
But you charge more, but Marvel's not going to take you up on that because they could find somebody else.
It's because every other artist is willing to do it for freaking. And then when the American artists say no, they just turn to Brazil, and those guys work for even less.
It's a male porn star.
No, it's. That's if you look at the solicitations every month. The majority of the artists working on books for the big two are international guys. And I think that argument that you just mentioned plays a big part in that. It's and also the other thing is that it's quite opposite. I think a lot of guys when they're working for one of the big two, the rates are actually lower than what they would charge a smaller publisher. Because the smaller publisher is looking to try to at least bank off of the name recognition of more of a mainstream artist, and they end up having to pay more. So it's interesting.
It's messed up, but Marvel has to be comfortable just being dumped on by creatives. every once in a while. And that's really our only recourse, is just to shame them. Stan Lee spoke out against them before, and they've always survived. So they take their black eye and then they keep moving forward. They still can have great shareholder value by, and then they nickel and dime creatives, and then they also nickel and dime the actors. And some of the lowest rates in Hollywood are from the Marvel movies.
Well, that's why they do the conventions. When they go to the conventions, they make more in one weekend than they do on their entire shoot or a season.
I went to one of my Carnegie Mellon alumni things, and the speaker that time was Ken West, who worked for Marvel, and he thought he was talking to a bunch of Carnegie Mellon students, and he didn't know I was there. I worked for Marvel. He said the greatest thing about Marvel is that the characters, Captain America, Spider-Man, all that, they work for free, and then they don't have a health plan. They don't complain. They can split them up into 50 different places in all different media, and they'll work them to the bone, and they never complain. And they're super popular. And I mean, he didn't mention anything about the hardworking actors or the artists or writers. It's just that IP is so valuable that you can hire a bunch of shitty artists and put a bunch of crap books in them. It'll still sell. But if you were like an independent, like what we're doing at 24/7 Comics, like no one knows any of the characters I created. There's no love for them. The only play I have is the quality of the writing and the art, and that's not even enough to make good sales.
Yeah, but there's a danger in that there's diminishing returns, because you keep on doing that to a character or a book where you put on, not as top quality guys. It's going to affect your sales in the long term. Short term, it might be good, but fans will remember this. Sometimes, mostly.
I don't think they'll remember it. There's always going to be someone that's dying to draw Spider-Man,
What I'm saying is that, you're not getting somebody as top quality, and if that product that you put out isn't top quality, the fans that pick that up will feel like they got ripped off. They're like, oh, now we'll future sale.
Yeah, but quality again. That brings us back to the AI discussion. At some point, the quality, right? There's this. A lot of the industry right now is built off of name recognition. Name recognition is a 2 or 3 edged sword. There's a lot of artists that that you might recognize the name, is one thing. But that doesn't necessarily translate to sales on books. So there are artists that have a very high commission rate, that are very masterful artists, but they don't necessarily, quote unquote, move the needle when you put them on a book. There are artists that are great convention artists, but they're not going to necessarily, or if you look at their artwork, you're like, wow, this person is amazing, but they don't sell any more books than anyone else. And I do think there is a combination of characters and artwork and artists that kind of create a particular synergy that can multiply a factor in which how a book sells. But it's a difficult. I mean, it's a subject that is it's not black and white. How. I mean, I could certainly say that in my career, I've thought some books that I worked on would sell better than others, and then some books I didn't think would sell at all, did okay. And you start questioning, like, well, is it me? Is it the writer? Is it the character? Is it the storyline? I don't ever know, unless the key part is like the statistic, I can't say that word. statistical analysis. And until we can actually get definitive sales numbers and then cross-referencing those and creating a database, it's very, very difficult. A lot of it is just subjective. I mean, you know, we should bring on our mutual friend who does variant covers, because that is an indicator of sales.
Yeah.
And you know, he hires specific artists to draw specific variant covers to boost sales, and would have verified proof of, you know, who sells, what sells, and I think a lot of people would be very surprised at maybe artists who they think are, you know, very well known name-wise, but don't necessarily move any more units or significant number of units to justify a particular rate. So, and then until there's a union, all of this stuff it's a Wild West. It's what you can negotiate. So, Bangle posted on here, he can get $800 a cover. So, and Bangle's a, you know, art-wise,
He's the man. That guy's awesome.
he's fucking amazing, right? Again, I think this needs to be clarified. Is he asking for $6,000 to $7,000 to draw the cover, or he's saying that unless the cover sells for $6,000 to $7,000, which would make it viable for him? I think that's a big argument right here.
Yeah. I think we all agree that nobody's getting $6,000 to do a cover. I don't think Alex Rock.
I mean, I don't know. That's the thing, is I don't know the rates of other people. And if you told me somebody was getting paid $6,000 to draw a cover,
no,
you know, I would be a little bit surprised. But look, an album cover is, you know, when I did the Ciara album cover, I got paid over $10,000 for one piece of artwork. That was an album cover.
Right.
But $10,000 for an album cover was kind of on the medium to low side. It's comparable.
Yeah. I got paid much lower for the Hong Kong Vibe album covers I was doing, but way more than I ever would in comics. I won't say exactly how much, but it's like at least a few thousand, you know.
Yeah. And so again, different mediums, different, but it's the same piece of artwork, right? And
different finances. You know, the comic industry is not as strong as the music industry or the movie industry. Say, you know, those or gaming industry. Those should pay more, depending on, you know, what those finances are. We all know that, you know, comic books aren't as strong as that, so they're not paying out as much.
right, but it's still it's technically it's the same drawing.
You're right.
In many ways, it's the same amount of effort, and
hey, but one industry can afford it, the other industry cannot.
Well,
it's all.
Yes, different industries have different budgets, and then also because of the different sales, you know, the albums or music.
Yeah,
albums.
I mean, look, the Ciara isn't turning that album cover into a movie, you know.
Well, we were hoping it would be, but and then, you know, there's you know, if you had a T-shirt logo or drawing for it, you know, something like that. It's, I mean, I just had a few months ago, was negotiating an illustration price, and you know, wondering like what is a good price to charge, what is a price that I'm comfortable working for, the amount of hours, and you know, the fault that I had was that I was thinking, okay, a comic book price, a cover price would be, you know, around $1,000, and oh, okay, I'm cool with that, but it's not a comic book cover; it's something else. And so then I gotta rewire and say, well, I gotta charge more, right? Because also, I talked to a couple people, and one artist was like, yeah, but even if it's $1,000, as a comic book cover, you can sell that for a few more thousand. So, but the other piece, you're probably not going to be able to sell. So, it's interesting. I wonder. I wonder what all the specifics are. But let me look at chat. I haven't looked at chat in a while.
Dustin Nguyen had a very tough life in the beginning. I just think he doesn't take shit anymore. So he's old enough that he's like, he doesn't suffer fools. So he's going to speak his mind.
What? Then I thought he started at Wildstorm.
Oh, he did. Oh, and before that, like he was from Vietnam and he had to escape. So he's almost like a political refugee.
Oh, really? His family escaped from Vietnam?
From what I heard, there was he had to leave where he was from, the city or the village, overnight. So they packed up and put everything on a boat. And there was 2 boats, and then they took off into the water. One boat was gunned down, killed. Everyone was on it, was killed.
Oh.
But he was on the boat to survive, and he was adrift at sea with a whole bunch of people. And then there was one point where he famously told the story of how he had to drink his own pee to survive.
Wow.
And then he got to the United States and started building his empire from there. So I mean, he started. So I don't know, like he's been having he's had some rough moments in his life. So I think that's what gives him the balls to be able to speak out like this.
Well, I know Jimmo brings up Dustin started at Wildstorm with Eric Canetti. The story with them was that they would drive down. He lives in Long Beach, and the 2 of them would drive down from Long Beach to San Diego, La Jolla specifically, where the Wildstorm studio was, every day, and go just to work with Jim Lee. So
yeah, that's what
I mean, that's a 2-hour, 1.5-hour drive each way. So it's a commitment. So Beef Skeleton asked if I kept the original. I kept the original. I mean, the cover design went through various, and part of the reason some illustrations are you charge more too is because with certain clients there's like multiple revisions. The thing with comics is you send in a sketch and then you draw it with maybe a couple notes and then you turn it in. So it's a very fast. It's like fast food as opposed to a fine dining restaurant. And with album covers, it took over a month to produce because of so much back and forth, tiny revisions, doing one drawing and then going back one into the other drawing from 2 steps ago. So it's very frustrating, and it has the approval process is extensive because the record label has to approve it, the artist has to approve it, Ciara has to approve it, her agent has to approve it. It goes through multiple stages. So whereas in comics it's really just the editor. Unless you work for
Jerry's comic,
huh?
Unless you work for Jerry's writer.
Unless you work for specific editors that then do. We had one guy that was asking for revisions to ask for revisions' sake because he wanted us to know that he was the editor.
Man, I hate that.
Which is very frustrating. But eventually that stopped. We were able to work on stuff together. But it's. I wonder if one of these days Dustin will come on if he wants to talk about it. I think we're a small enough audience that he can talk about it freely.
Well, like Sean said, I'm sure he's willing to talk. Just finding the time. I don't know if he's afraid of reprisals or anything at this point in his career.
Yeah. More power to him. I didn't even know he was doing covers for Marvel. When did he
He's
start?
not.
Not anymore.
Yeah, but he said his editors. So, is he working right now on something, or?
No. His editor in the past, he has a good editor. I think he did like Moon Knight covers, Spider-Man covers in the past. So, what he's saying is that they're not. It's not. He's not calling them out. He loves them. But
Well, the editors don't really have a lot of authority to increase the page rate.
There's
they
got to
get-
be
yeah,
different scales, right? Because not all books handle the same. Because I'm sure Pepe Larraz is not cheap, and they put him on the biggest book, and there's probably a scale for him. Like I think maybe 5% of the books have a astronomical page rate. I think the average book has a lower than average pay rate for the rest of the books, or for a lot of the books. So there's probably different tiers.
Yeah, but the editor can absolutely advocate for you. I mean, I'm not sure if, depending on the editor, if there's any influence there, but I'm sure there's some influence.
Oh, yeah. They're the ones that are going to bring the request up, but
yeah,
and they can try to justify or advocate for a particular raise, and that's certainly happened before, my experience. But a lot of it is, the artist itself is stuck on an island, and there's no representation. For actors or writers, not writers, but like screenwriters. They all have agents that really negotiate this aspect. And one thing I learned from past experience, which was really horrible. Non-comics, more entertainment-based experience, is that really you need to have a lawyer or an agent to negotiate for you. And as the artist and the talent, we really should just focus on the talent portion, and not this and not the numbers and negotiating, because it really becomes contentious. And you feel like why are they undervaluing me, or very it's and then it gets frustrating. You don't feel like putting in the extra effort. So having a barrier definitely helps and smooths it out. I was talking to my buddy who's a sports agent, and he's like, look, you're the talent. Let the negotiator negotiate, and you draw. You're not supposed to. Don't try to get into the numbers thing, because then it's just going to be a whole fight. Tom Brady ain't negotiating his own deals. Very few athletes negotiate their own deals. All the agents do all the hard work for them, and then they just go out and play. Just go out and play. That's what you're great at. Go out and play. So in the 80s, in the 90s, they paid flat $50 a page for Moon Knight. Really? Your Jimbo says. J Dan says Dustin's working on a Batman Robin series.
Who the hell would agree to that? Like, why did you agree to pay $50 a page?
$50 a page? I doubt that. I don't think you got paid. Look, my starting rate at Valiant was $65 a page. That was my starting rate in 1992. $65 a page. The rate that it is now has not matched the inflation. Within a few months of $65 a page, so the Archer and Armstrong number 8 and the Hardcore number 5, I got paid $65 a page, which if you times 22, how much is that? 2,000 something? what is the?
Back then, it was a good starting pay.
Well, we were getting royalties. The royalty rates were tremendous. We're getting a few thousand. Sean got like $90,000 for Rye Number 9. For royalties.
Sean.
So
Well,
yeah.
most importantly, I didn't spend that money. So.
Well, you bought it all on Nvidia.
Yeah.
But then, like 2,400, is that right? 25, 60 something is 2,400, maybe 2,500, 2,500, $2,600 to draw a book, which takes an entire month. So you figure that times 12. If you could do 12 books, usually it's around 10. You're making less than $30,000 a year. But then with royalties, royalties were easily like double, triple that. So making about 6,000 a month, 8,000 a month in 1992, 93, 93.
That's pretty good.
Back then, then they offered us an exclusive contract, and I think the rate went up to 75, and then it went up to 125. So it jumped fairly quickly, from 65 to 75, and then I think it was 125 at one point. By the time I left.
Did you hear Bob Layton speak last night?
No. What was he speaking?
On Carl Choi's Valiant show. He was on, and then he did say they were handing out big royalty checks, and one of our creatives bought a house. And I'm thinking that must have been you.
Yeah, I bought a house. But houses were a lot cheaper back then. I bought a house for my mom with my first royalty check. Well, with my first year save, again, like the first year earnings. I was still in school, and school was free. All I had to do was pay for room and board. And then the rest of the money I saved up. I did buy a small TV because I didn't have a TV for like 2 years. I bought a 13-inch TV on Canal Street for $125. And then I bought which I still have today. You guys want to see that TV? It's like right here. I saved stuff.
It doesn't work.
It still works. Yeah, that shit still works.
Oh yeah.
Let me go get it and plug it in. Let me show you my first one. And I bought a Sega Genesis with Joe Montana Sports Talk Football.
Oh, so you didn't see the TV. It probably doesn't have any. It only can take signals out of the air, right? So it has an antenna.
Yeah, it'll have rabbit ears. I can plug in the cable in the back.
Yeah, that was I bought one thing with my royalty check, and that was like a 5-inch TV. It was like one of those tiny Sony cube type things, and I put it in front of my drawing table and to watch while I draw. And that was the only thing I did with that money. The rest of it I gave to my mom and said, like, I'm an artist. I'm going to starve one day, so take this from me. And
Take it, well, I can give it to you.
when I run out of food, I'm going to ask for it. So, oh my God.
Did you ask for it back?
What was that?
Did you ever ask her for it back from your mom?
No, because what I found out was that you can actually make a living from the pages. So I never really picked up the royalty check. But here's like a lot of people probably know this about stock market, but you put in some money. 7 years later, it doubles, and then 7 years later, that doubles, and then 7 years later, that doubles again. It doesn't take that long before you don't have to work anymore. So that's the thing is like if you just and the reason I didn't spend that money because I was scared. It's not because I came from a family of doctors, so I was pretty sure that I was going to have to live off of that.
So party at Sean's house? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right, here we go, guys. Look at this. Oh, it's heavy. It's like one of those big. All right.
I remember that TV.
Let's see. Moment of truth. Where's the power button?
Why do you still have that?
It's the first thing I bought with my money.
How much was it?
$125. Look, it works. I hear it like power on. Look at it, the static. It's on.
TV
See, it still works. I just need to plug in. Look at that.
Did it take coaxial cable or?
It must take coaxial. Yeah.
Let me see. Actually, well, I got rid of my cable box upstairs. Watch this thing blows up.
It's worth thousands now. Vintage.
Oh yeah, I can I can plug in the cable, but I don't have a cable box up here anymore.
I remember you had that illegal cable box.
To save money.
Holy crap! It's almost 12 o'clock.
Huh? It's midnight? Oh.
Pretty late.
All right. Okay. Let's get out of here. I don't have a cable thing, but it does have a cable thing in there. Yeah. One of these days. Huh?
I think you can buy an iPad with the same screen size as that.
Well, it's the same size as my iPad now. Yeah, pretty much. If I get my iPad.
Wow. Okay, so that's the giveaway.
Yeah, the iPad is the same.
Pick a
Look
number.
at this. The iPad is the same size as the screen.
Wow. So you're holding on to that for nostalgia's sake, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to my kid. Be like, this is your birthday gift.
You're like, thanks, Dad.
There's not going to be broadcast stations anymore. I mean, they're not going to broadcast over the air anymore.
Well, and
pretty soon.
the plastic hasn't degraded. I had a bigger Sony, like 35-inch TV, and I tried to lift that to throw it out, and the plastic like completely crumbled on the back. But this one is, I've kept it in good shape, you know. This is like the old, like the Battlestar Galactica. When the Cylons attack, I'm going to be completely analog, and I'll still be able to survive.
Wait, which Battlestar though? The one in the 70s or the one in the 2000s?
No, the new one. The one on the Sci-Fi Network.
Oh my God! I can't believe that's in his house.
I did get rid of the second TV I bought. So look at that. Blast from the past. You know how many Sega Genesis games I played on that TV in my Pratt dorm with my buddies? All right, let's get out of here. I think I'll finish this offline. That's what I said last week. But I'm pretty close. All right. Anything else? Jamie Odell, the ancient is TV now. Yeah, it's an antique. I also have a bunch of I have my Mac, my Mac. You know, the tower. From high school.
Why do you still have that stuff?
Oh, I was gonna turn that into like a fish tank or something, and then I started collecting. I have like 6 or 7 of those in my house. Those old single Macintosh towers. Anyways, Fletch, you have anything you want to add before we get out of here?
No, keep it busy.
I forgot.
Going to be at WonderCon.
WonderCon. I forgot to tell people, make sure if you're watching to hit the follow button. If you're watching on YouTube's, hit the follow button. We're trying to get the numbers up on there. Tell your friends. And then, meanwhile, hit the follow button here on the on Twitch too. Jerry, got anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Hope to see everyone at Mocha this Saturday.
Jerry's going to be at Mocha. Do you know what table number?
184. That's what it is.
And I saw Jerry. You have your own the sticker. Are you giving away that sticker or are you selling it?
Oh yeah. I'm just gonna give them away.
Oh.
It's like my new flyer.
Okay.
So Jerry, next year you're gonna just replace yourself with a TV, right?
Yep.
Next year, just do it now. and then work from home, Jerry. That would be the thing, right? You set up your
that
TV,
would be great.
right? And then it's a live cam, and then you're at home drawing. That's the future. This is Jerry's. Where's your? This is the Mocha floor plan. Oh, you're in the back. 184. You couldn't get 188?
It's Asian parent. You couldn't get this.
These are the original art that you're gonna have available.
I just did those this past past few days.
Ooh.
They're kind of fun. I like drawing dumplings.
I was wondering about the hot pocket though. What's that hot pocket?
Because the hot pocket, according to Wikipedia, is considered an actual dumpling.
What is it, like anything that's
I don't know
meat?
about that. Sounds like some chat GTP shit.
Anything that's meat wrapped around.
So that is America's contribution to the list of dumplings. But this is just dim sum because I put in a tofu, also a stinky tofu. Sorry.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's stinky tofu.
How come the stinky tofu don't have noses to smell the stinky?
Oh,
Well, that would be the thing, right? They can't smell their own stink. Sean, anything you want to add?
Crease's Kickstarter, it ends tomorrow, so
Oh,
it's last chance. Also, you should try to give a watch to Bob Layton on. There's a really long 2-hour interview with him about the early days of Valiant stuff. I learned stuff. He name drops Bernard a few times, so you should. It's called. If you go to YouTube and type in Valiant TDLR, too long didn't read, TLDR, it should pop up.
This is Creese's. I already backed this project.
Bladesmith, right?
Bladesmith. Tomorrow, 38 hours left. So, what is that? Thursday morning, it's gonna be over.
Yeah.
So go support this project. Get a chance.
These blades carry a lot of history with them. A history full of chaos.
Can you guys hear this?
Shaped by the secret cabals all vying for power. Our faction was used to serve their ambition. But it all changed when we found out we were their tool for destruction. That's when we broke away, to serve the comic people. They gave us many names, assassins, shadows, but we call ourselves Bladesmith.
Butthead likes this music.
I can't believe you invited him to show for a last minute promotion and he just didn't show up for it.
What?
He didn't take you up on your invite to show up.
Well, I
and
texted
promote this
him. I
thing?
mean, I texted him last week and I texted him today, but he's probably busy. He said he was moving last week, so.
Oh, he's moving near me. Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know where he's moving, but.
Yeah, he's moving about 10 minutes away.
So, yeah, go check that out if you guys get a. Oops, did I get rid of that page?
It's all right.
I thought, for a promo, they should have had him do like a cooking segment.
Yeah, I don't think anyone cooked. That's the problem.
You know, I mean, he doesn't have to be a good chef. Just the cooking segment would have been fun.
Yeah, make some ramen, you know.
Right? Yeah.
That's all he eats.
Like chop up some ramen with a knife. You know, or
And then someone will kick the door down and then attack him, and then you'd have to like.
or go to like one of these knife stores. You know, I'm sure there's some in the city, right? And look at like all these, because when we went to G-Man, anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. Anybody to raid? We got anybody to raid? Anybody recommend anybody to raid? Hello, I am Magusi, or it's LM Magusi. All right, well, I guess let me see. James Quo, who should we raid? Let's see. I'm on here. There's nobody in hot tubs anymore. I think that's no longer.
NECA's art.
Huh?
NECA's art. He's drawing. Is David Lopan from Big Trouble in Little China?
Yeah.
Okay, so someone is drawing that.
How do you spell it? How do you spell it?
NEKKASART.
NECA's art. Okay. Don't say that too fast.
It's a lady.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Jerry has not said hubba hubba in a year. I don't think. Since he's been married, he has not said hubba. This is the first time.
And he's back.
Let's get a hubba hubba in the chat. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. Happy holidays. Stay safe. We'll check you guys out next week. Start the raid.
Happy holidays. Bye.
Are we out? Are we still in? Raid now. Okay.
It's switching over. Let's
That's
see this
not
art.
David Lopan.
That's not.